coming tonight. This is the post-holiday spoken word Throwdown, presented to you by Evangelical Productions. Of course, admission was free, but we are putting this on tonight as a fundraiser for Planned Parenthood. They have a booth by the door. If you can throw a couple bucks their way, or just stop by and get some literature, or find out how else you can help them, we would really appreciate it, because they do a lot for the community in general and the United States and all sorts of good stuff. Plus free condoms. Everybody likes free condoms. Well, we have a variety of things for your hearing pleasure tonight. A bunch of different artists doing a bunch of different things. First up, we have Mr. Will Ross. He is a satirist, a humorist. He might even bash Fremont a little, we don't know. His blog is, or his website is prefacesandasides.com. And if you don't know him from 118, you don't know him at all. So here he is, Mr. Will Ross.
So I'm going to explain the cane first, but it's so weird to walk on stage with this because it's like, I feel like I'm starting some like, in Gulliver's Corners, so I'm going to sit because normally I'm more animated, but I broke the shit out of my foot. And it's a pretty funny story. It starts with a drug called Remeron. Now, some of you may know, and some of you may not know, but you'll find out, that I am batshit crazy. Like, not even in the fun way sometimes, mostly in the fun way. 50-50. So, this drug is an antidepressant, and it's a great antidepressant. It actually wouldn't be Prozac, except for it makes you get real fat real quick. It also has a side effect where, when you're sleeping, you always dream. Every single time. And you always dream lucidly. This becomes a problem when you're watching the movie Limitless and somebody doesn't deal with it. Yeah, you guys all seen the Coke analogy where it's like, writers would be so much better if they were just on Coke all the time. Sure. Well, there's a part in this where there's a blood-curdling scream. When you're on this drug, and when you wake up from this drug, you may or may not have woken up. And that takes a lot of perspective out of a blood-curdling scream. Now, I have kind of a Batman complex. I like to think that I'm the guy who's going to rush in and save people. I'm not. Clearly, I'm not. But it feels like I should be. So when I heard this scream, I dove into action. I jumped up, I ran, and I kicked the fuck out of the dresser. 30 minutes later, I'm at the hospital. Now, there's a lot of things you want to hear from your radiologist. Wow is not one of them. If someone is looking at this stuff all day, car crashes, etc., you don't want to be special. That is a time where your normality needs to shine. Because if it doesn't, you are up shit's creek. Now, I was trying to figure out if I sprained it, or broke it, or fragmented it, or, well, I did all four. And I was trying, we had a picture of it, but it vanished, but literally there's like a V crack, and the bone has just been beat to shit. And so, of course, the next thing he asks is, you know, do you mind if any medical students come in here? I'm like, yeah, it's Christmas, I'm on it. Why are the medical students working on Christmas? You're making them learn on Christmas? So they take me back, and again, I got about a little bit of my suit paid for. The rest of my superhero stuff is on layaway, so I'm like, got that. But I do have the Converse thing here, which is pretty sweet. So basically, the long story short is, I had a very active dream that allowed me to break the fuck out of my foot, which would be less ironic if I hadn't already broken the fuck out of my knee in exactly the same way. There's a bone fragment between here and here. There was a bone fragment between here. The final piece of irony that really is the cherry on top of this whole suck Sunday is that I was state champion in martial arts weapons, and that weapon was the cane. So, for people who've been asking, that's how I broke my foot. Now, first of all, I'm hoping there's no kids in here, because it's going to get dirty and it ain't going to get any better after me. So, let's see, what if we do Planned Parenthood? That'll work. Okay, we're going to start with a little bit of sexy time. This story is called The Deflowering of Chastity St. James. Chastity felt a warmth in her belly as the stallion and the mare coupled in the field. He's not hurting her, is he, Edward? She asked breathlessly. No, he's not. Chastity ran a hand across Edward's bare chest, tracing the rippling muscles. She sighed wistfully. She knew it was wrong. She was a St. James, after all. A woman of her station could never be in love with a common stable boy, no matter how true their love was. She didn't care. I could teach you, Edward whispered into her blushing ear. Yes, Chastity whispered, her milky bosom rising and falling. Then they totally started making out like crazy and kissing and junk, and then he took her boobies out like right in front of the horses. Serious, it was crazy as fuck. Oh yeah. Then they did it like so many ways, like way more ways than your husband does, and they do that thing that you try to make a joke, but it's not really a joke, but you kind of play it off as a joke, but it's so not a joke. And then they did that, but like 3 times. And also she orgasmed a lot. The end. So now let's move to something else. Oh, that'll work. Okay, I'm a troll. A troll is a satirist who has not yet been vindicated by history. So, this is a letter I actually sent to Durex Condoms. And they replied, they were actually really cool about it, but I like to dig with people, and customer service is the shittiest shit. Has anyone worked customer service here? Okay, there you go. The last thing you want to hear after hearing dumb people after dumb people after dumb people is more people yelling at you. So I made it something that was yelling at them that they could enjoy. This is called a letter I just sent to Durex Condoms. Dear Durex, I chewed about half a dozen pieces of your gum pre-getting up to Dickens, and I have to say not only was the flavor just so-so, Stride is much better in my opinion, the wife is still pregnant. This is just like the time with the sponge. I had her clean the kitchen with that thing for 12 hours before we got frisky, and we still have little Annabelle Lee running around the double wide, and probably a little brother on the way thanks to your contraceptive, which tastes just awful. For her pleasure, I don't think so. But I doubt anyone could get any pleasure by chewing this stuff, but you do blow some massive bubbles. I'm considering writing a strongly worded letter to the editor of the Centralia Coal Burner about the flavor and quality of your gum. Will Ross, Centralia, Pennsylvania. The reason Centralia, Pennsylvania is funny, by the way, is it's a smoking crater in the ground. There's a mine fire that's been burning in that for, it may be on 30 years now, but they burn trash, and so the whole city is on fire underneath the ground, and it has not gone out. Alright, so we're going to go into something a little bit different now. That's all the sex I can take in front of my parents. At least unless someone's running a camera. I think we'll go with something for the kids. This is a children's story. It's called Floyd the Happy Panda and the Sunshine Patrol. And it's not on the page it's supposed to be, because I don't know how to do this. There we go. Okay. Floyd the Happy Panda and the Sunshine Patrol. Aww. Floyd was the happiest, most snuggable, huggable panda in the whole forest. He danced along in the summer sunlight, not a cloud in the sky. There he met up with his friends, the Sunshine Patrol. There was Steve the silly squirrel, Roger the raucous raccoon, and Ted, the unemployed shiftless vagabond. Hiya, pals, Floyd said, bowing with a panda-like flourish. Don't hiya pals me, Steve said, opening his hand with his fingers. Floyd giggled and handed Steve a paper sack filled with gumdrops. Steve looked inside and frowned. Short again, Floyd. Half of these are black licorice, Steve said. He was looking less than silly. Just give me more time, giggled Floyd. He'd been an awfully silly panda and eaten half of the gumdrops on the way there. He owed the gumdrops as protection payment to the Sunshine Patrol. He especially shouldn't have eaten the red ones. Those were Steve the silly squirrel's favorites. You're out of time. Tune him up, boys. Start with the knees, Steve said, turning his back as Roger and Ted moved in on Floyd, holding lengths of pipe and singing a cheerfully educational song about keeping your promises. They could hear Floyd's screams from the enchanted waterfall all the way to the county.